You expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Written by Paul Haggis, Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. Directed by Mark Forster, 2008, Quantum of Solace. This is another highly controversial film among fans. Not a lot of people in my personal circle seem to like this film, which would be an understatement, to be honest. They actually seem to hate this film. I'm not one of those, but I will admit there are at least 3 major reasons to be very critical of this film. First of all, the main reason is this always stood in the shadow of its predecessor, Casino Royale, which was one of the best, if not the best, James Bond film ever made. And, you know, coming close to that success is not possible at all. And it's like with, you know, some great records. If someone made his ultimate masterpiece, the follow-up record will always disappoint because, you know, it will never come close to the quality of the masterpiece, and that's the case with Quantum of Solace. And you know, they also made the mistake of continuing the story of Casino Royale. So they connected these films with each other, which was not a great idea in my opinion, because now there will always be the great one and the not so great one, and there will always be a connection. And I think they should have separated this film from Casino Royale. That would be a wise choice, because that's exactly how I am able to really enjoy this film, by separating it from its predecessor, watching it as its own thing. You know, it's in its own world. And if you are able to do this as a viewer, I again guarantee you will have a great time, because it is a good film. It's just not nearly as good as Casino Royale was. That's the main problem. That's the main reason to be very critical of this film. The second main reason, it's a big one. There's major script problems. There was a writer's strike at the time, and the whole production was pretty rushed, sadly, and because of the writer's strike, they got major problems with the script. And, you know, there are stories that at some point even Daniel Craig had to step in to help out with the writing, because, it was such a chaotic time, and there was no one to do it, and they didn't really know in which direction to go, and you can feel this while watching the film. It has major pacing problems. It's a very strangely paced film. It's like, you know, it's a very short film. It's the shortest Bond film of them all. I think it runs for 104 minutes or something like that. So under 2 hours. It's pretty short for a Bond film, and I think, that's because of the writing problems. And it feels like, you know, someone just turned on the action, turned off the action, turned on the action, turned off the action, dialogue, action, dialogue, action, dialogue, and the dialogue is not pretty good. It's not great dialogue. The characters are not great. And that's a major problem people have with this film, rightfully so. The third major reason to be very critical of this film, it has a unique style in terms of visuals and how it's filmed and how it's edited. And a lot of people don't like this. It took inspiration from the Jason Bourne movies. And, you know, there was shaky cam at the time. You know, they first did this with the Bourne movies. And with the shaky cam and the fast cuts and this strange editing, they tried to pour the viewer into the action. You know, it should feel realistic, and it should feel like you are part of the action. And, you know, a lot of people just see, you know, the camera shaking around. They can't figure out what's going on. And some people even told me they got a headache, you know, watching this at the cinema. or weren't feeling really great because the camera work and everything was shaking. And yeah, I get the criticism because it's a very unique thing and no one would do this today. It's of its time, you know, and it's typical late 2000s filmmaking. And but I like it, to be very honest with you. There's a car chase in the beginning of the film, and that's a perfect example, you know, for this shaky cam thing and the fast cuts. And yeah, the director Mark Foster said it should feel like a car accident, like you have been in a car accident. The viewer should get a feeling for what it's like to be in a car crash or something. And I think they did a great job and they accomplished this. I think they managed to do it. It's so brutal and so violent and so chaotic. And I really enjoy this. You know, I almost felt like my neck hurt watching this. You know, I can imagine how it feels to be in a car crash, how it feels to be in a car chase like this. And I think they did a great job. I like it a lot. Yeah, of course, you have to watch it at least 2 to 3 times to really figure out what exactly is going on here because it's so chaotic. But I think it pulls you, somehow pulls you in. It somehow pulls you in, and that's exactly what they were trying to do. And I think it worked out perfectly. I'm a big fan of this. Not all the time. I'm not a fan of the shaky cam thing, you know, in every action scene. But in this case, it worked very well, in my opinion. Another problem people have with this film, this is among fans, this is called the art house Bond. Because director Mark Foster comes from, you know, the art house movies, and yeah, he's a very eccentric director, Oscar winner, I think, and he got some very unique visuals going on here. Personally, I'm a big fan of those. I think this is a beautiful looking film. It's one of my favorites in terms of the visuals. I'm a big fan of the visuals of this film. You know, yeah, there's an art housey kind of feel about this film, but in all the best ways, in my opinion. It's not it's aesthetically very pleasing, but not in the classic way, not in the way Bond fans expected it to be. Um, it's visually stunning in a more in a it looks like a modern art piece. Let's put it this way. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to describe it. It looks like a modern art piece. This starts with the title sequence. It all looks a little clean and polished, antiseptic, something like that. Minimalistic. It has minimalistic aesthetics to it, but it looks so beautiful. And the way Foster works with the colors, he puts very much a lot of attention to those details. There's a scene in a hotel where everything is black and white, and even what the characters are wearing fits those colors. They're wearing black and white. And there's this tribute to Goldfinger where you find one of the Bond girls dead, you know, drowned in oil. So she's covered in black, lying on those white sheets in this black and white room. And it looks so stunning. And it's also a great tribute to Goldfinger because, you know, oil is also called the black gold. So and the way she's lying there, it's an amazing tribute to Goldfinger. I love this scene. And yeah, that's a perfect example for what this film was able to accomplish visually a very pleasing film. And also the locations, it's very exotic, but not in a vacationy not in a high class kind of way like we are used to as Bond fans. You know, it's set in Bolivia, and Bond is also, you know, there's not those 5-star hotel locations all the time, but it's shot beautifully, and the colors are beautiful. And there's this amazing promo poster for Quantum, where Bond and Camille are walking through a desert, but dressed in evening, dressed for an evening. He's in the tuxedo, and she looks beautiful, but they are roughed up. Something happened to them, and they are walking through this desert, and the color grading is beautiful, and the way they look, and I think that's a visually stunning film. I cannot talk enough about it because I love it so much visually. It's a feast for the eyes. Yeah, and also, the way those locations are shot is so beautiful. It's not a usual 5-star Bond thing, but it's shot in such an artistic, beautiful way that it perfectly fits into a Bond film. I think there are those scenes in Austria, Bregenz, where they are at the Seebühne, it's called, and the whole thing, watching this opera going on, and it's very beautiful, and that's very Bondian in my opinion. So Daniel Craig looks his best in this film. I think his hair is a little bit longer than it is in Skyfall in the later films, and I think that perfectly fits his face, his outfits. Tom Ford provided him with a suit. It's one of my favorite suits he wears. Bond is wearing in the whole franchise. They got inspired by Steve McQueen for a lot of Bond's looks in these films. So there's a Steve McQueen feel about Daniel Craig in this film, and the way he portrays Bond is really great. The script isn't the best, but what Craig makes out of it, how he portrays Bond, is very intense, and he got very little dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue in this film because it's very action driven, but what Craig makes out of this little dialogue, and with his face expressions and the way he talks and the way he portrays Bond overall, you can feel his pain. He's on a revenge mission in this film, and he's out of control, and like M says in this film, he's running amok. And Craig does this very well. He's a dangerous presence in this film. Bond is really dangerous in this film. And it feels like he's running amok, killing people left and right, and you can feel his pain, you can feel his anger. I also like the Bond girl Camille in this film, portrayed by Olga Kurylenko. I think she's, a perfect mix between a little girl, a little innocent girl. There's something innocent about her face, but she's also on a revenge mission, which was a great idea, to put those two together. And this is what connects Bond with her. They never even got a romantic relationship in this story. There's a kiss, but that's about it. They are both on a revenge mission. And I think that's a great connection, and I think this mixture between innocent girl, innocent who got very hurt, who got traumatized, who got a really messed up life, and is now, he full of anger and on this mission to seek revenge, and I think she does a great job, Olga Kurylenko. I think she's an interesting character, and classic, very Fleming-esque. I think she reminds me of Bond girls in the novels, maybe a little tougher, a little more stronger. But the revenge theme is part of some of Fleming's books, and the little innocent girl who got very hurt, the wounded bird theme, that's also very Fleming. That's so I think they did a great job with her and with her connection to Bond. I think Bond is amazing. We got a great villain. I love Dominic Greene. I know a lot of people don't like him because he's not the classic, uber villain, not a scar in his face, not a destroying the whole world plan. He's just a businessman. He's just a shady businessman. And this man is so evil. And think about the plot of this film. Forget about Casino Royale for a minute and Vespa and the whole thing, and just think about what Dominic Greene, along with his organization Quantum, is doing here. He's blocking Bolivia's supply for fresh water by damming it, and then planning to resell the water to those people. That's very evil, and it's just a businessman without any emotion. There's a great quote in this film where he says something like, we deal with the left, with the right, with dictators and liberators, and as long as it's good for their business, they're dealing with everyone. And if it doesn't work out, they will kill you in an instant. They will not even in the blink of an eye. And I think that's very evil. And he's also pretty insane. There's something insane about him, and the way he looks and his face expressions and his eyes are almost a little bit like this, And I love his French accent, and I love the way he looks. He got a very strange face. And I think there was no scar or anything like that necessary to make him interesting and charismatic. So I think he's a great villain. A lot of people criticized the music in this film. David Arnold did a great score again, I think. It's not his best, but it's good. It's good, it's great like all of his scores are. And a lot of people don't like the title track, by Jack White and Alicia Keys. I like it a lot again. I think they tried something new. It was of its time, of course. It was, alternative rock music was very big at the time. And that fits the sound of these days. And I think it's a great choice. I think it's a refreshing track. It's a refreshing song. It's the usual Bond elements mixed with some 2000s alternative rock. I think it worked out. I like it a lot. So overall, I like the visuals of this film. I love the visuals of this film. I really enjoy the action. I really enjoy the villain. I enjoy the Bond girl. I think Daniel Craig's performance is amazing. There's script problems. Yes, there are script problems and pacing problems. And it's not Casino Royale. I get it. But other than that, if you are able to watch it as its own thing, I think you will have a good time. Hopefully, I was able to convince you to give it another try, to rewatch it and maybe view it as its own thing. And I guess maybe you will have a better time than the last time you watched it. So I had a great time talking about this film. Anything left to say? I don't think so. One last thing. Maybe it's a very violent film. And that's something that a lot of people criticized. It goes a little too far, in their opinion. I don't think so. I think he's on a revenge mission, and it has to be like this. Because, he's full of anger and pain, and the tone of the film did that mood perfectly. I think the violence was necessary to transport the rage, the inner rage Bond is driven by. So just to talk about, this is another thing people are very critical of. But I like it, and I think, there are great action scenes, very violent fight scenes, and another thing I love about this film. So thank you for watching. Love you, love the Bond community, and see you very soon.